Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss, and I'm popping in today with a brief practice to help us wake up and strengthen our abdominal muscles. Our abdominal muscles are part of our core, and they're super important to help stabilize the trunk and the pelvis. They're super important to help keep an upright spine. They also are important to help support our abdominal organs to keep them in place. And plus, all of our movement is affected by our core, right? So if our abdominal muscles are weak, we might move less efficiently. We might move with less stability. So we're going to spend a little time on this today. So please hop on your mat and we'll get started. If you'd like to have a blanket for when we move to hands and knees, feel free to grab a blanket. Otherwise, we're going to start lying down. When you lie down, we're going to have the knees bent, I'd say hips width apart and a comfortable distance away from your bum. So not too close in, not too far out, right in the middle. And take a moment to establish your breathing. And notice how you just arrive in this shape. Do you tend to lay flat into your low back with your pelvis tucked under? Almost feels like your tail is tipping up to your knees. Do you tend to overarch the low back, or it feels like your tailbone is curling down toward the ground? And if you're not sure, run through those two movements. So let your pelvis rock back so you bring your low back to the ground, and then rock your pelvis forward so your lower back arches. You can almost slip your arm underneath. We'll do that again. Exhale and rock your pelvis back. So you feel that backward tilt, you feel your low back flat or rounding or flexing. And then inhale, rock forward. So your pelvis is tilting forward, your lower back is arching or extending here. And then where would the middle place be? And so one way to think of it is you're not too arched, you're not too flat, right? You feel maybe a little bit of your curve of your low back away from the ground, and you might sense your lowest ribs closer touching the ground. Another way to consider it is where your two frontal hip points are in the front of your pelvis and where your pubic bones meet, and that they're in the same plane horizontally in this case, right? So the pubic bones aren't higher or lower than the hip points. They're in the same plane. So that would be another way to kind of gauge, is my pelvis neutral? Is my spine pretty neutral? And then we're going to try to maintain that neutral feeling. And just imagine that you could zip up from the base of your pelvis up to your breastbone and hug your ribs and your hip points inward toward the middle, this sort of corset-like feel of support, not in a way that you can't breathe, but in a way that you just feel a toning and engagement of these muscles of support. And then we're going to try to maintain that and breathe your two arms up to the sky. And notice as you take your arms up, did anything change in your head? Can the back of your neck stay long, not flat, just lengthened, where your chin is about the height of your forehead or slightly lower? If that's not the case, slip a little blanket under your head. All right, so here we are. Neck neutral, not too flat, not too curvy, so your chin is lower than your forehead or in the same plane. Arms are up. Hip points and pubic bones, same plane. Zipping in, hugging in. Now bring your two knees up, right over your hips so your shins are parallel to the earth. Again, did anything change? Did you rock back and flatten your back? Did you overarch? Could you keep that pelvis, spine in neutral without bulging your stomach? So there we go. Now from here, take your right heel toward the ground without touching, stopping before anything changes in your pelvis and your spine. So abdominals working to stabilize that and bring it back up. When you exhale, lower your left heel, again, only to the point that you can maintain stability through the pelvis and the trunk. and bring it back up. Now let's take that on your exhale, your right foot and your left arm away from each other. So you're just adding in the arm, only going to the point, bring it back up, where you can stabilize the pelvis and the spine. And so for some of us, keeping that knee bent, come on up, is the better choice. And for others of us, beginning to straighten your leg is available. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, lower left leg and arm. And so knee might be bent, knee might be straight. Inhale, come back. And right leg, left arm. So moving slowly here. Try to sense your abdominals working. We'll go one more time to each side. So we've got to do, or I've got to do, right leg, left arm. And see how smooth you can make your movements as you do the left leg, right arm. Great. And then lower everything down. Have a moment to enjoy a breath. And then we'll roll to your side. Again, take a breath. Nice, easy transitions and come all the way up. And so here, friends, we're going to slip on into a little tabletop. And to start, I'd love you to set your knees right under your hips so your thighs are vertical and your hands as wide as your shoulders. So I've been enjoying this thought of the pinky edge and the outer shoulder lining up. So you can see there's a nice feeling of spaciousness across my collarbones. And then walking the hands just a little forward so the front of the shoulders comes right over the undersides of the wrists. So I've got the nice verticality of my arms for support. Now, gravity is really trying to pull on our abdominal muscles here and our abdominal organs. So again, see if you can find that neutral pelvis, not too much cat pose, not too much cow pose, but right in the middle. And then zip up from the base of your pelvis to your breastbone, zip up and hug in from the hip points, from the rib cage. Find that corset of support. Now let's take your right arm straight out in front of you and lower. And take your left arm out. And as you do, you're going to try to keep your pelvis and your rib cage from rocking or twisting. Again, right arm, exhale. Inhale, lower. And exhale, lift. Left arm up. And gently lower. Now let's take the right arm a little off to the diagonal and see if that changes anything in your sense of stability through your abdominal muscles. And let's take the left arm slightly off to the diagonal. And we'll do that one more time. Off to the diagonal. And off to the diagonal with your left arm. And come on back. Now, if that felt challenging enough, you're going to repeat that just as you are. If that didn't feel like much of a challenge, I'd like you to keep your shoulders where they are, but move your knees back a little bit. Now, as you move into this position, you might need to add in just a slight bit of cat pose, a slight tail tuck as you push the ground away. You can tuck your toes under if that feels more stabilizing. And then again, we're going to take the right arm forward. Again, notice if there's any type of twisting of the ribs and try to minimize that. You could walk your knees closer in, and then we'll take the left arm. Keep that stability, hugging in, zipping up. Right arm forward. Inhale your breath as you lower. Press down into your right hand, lift your left arm. Now take the right arm out to the right. Take the left arm out to the left. Super strong in your support arm. Super strong through your abdominals. One more time out to the diagonal. And one more time out to the left diagonal. Come on back. Bring your knees in. Take a little wag of your tail. If you notice you were holding your breath, make sure you're breathing now. And then let's reset up into tabletop. So same idea, knees under hips, fronts of your shoulders over the undersides of your wrists, a little push of the ground away. Find your breath. And let's take the right leg straight back behind you and lift it up. And as you do that, I'd like you to keep that leg very parallel. And when you exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest and bring your nose towards your knee and make a little cat pose. Now, when you inhale and outstretch, think of moving your foot and your head away from each other. So we don't go into a cow, we stay pretty neutral, and then hug it in. Again, inhale, outstretch. Exhale, knee to nose. And one more time, your head and your foot lengthening away from each other, push the ground away. Exhale, knee to nose, nose to knee. And then lower back to your table. And then we'll check it in on the other side. Find a breath in and start to outstretch your left leg. You can start with the toes tucked under to really organize that leg parallel. Zip up, hug in, and lift your leg. And when you exhale, again, we'll curl in knee to nose. Inhale, outstretch. Think of lengthening. It doesn't matter how high your leg goes. I'd rather it be long. Hug in. Again, when you inhale, only go to the place where you can stabilize the pelvis, the spine in neutral, and hug in. And one more time. Now outstretch everything. Come back to table. Great. Now let's put our leg extension and our arm reach into the mix together. So take a breath in. When you exhale, you're going to zip up from the pelvis to the breastbone and hug in the hip points and the rib cage, all kind of gathering in to make that corset of support. And with your exhale next, we're going to outstretch the right leg and left arm, again, only to the point that you can maintain neutral. So not cow pose, not cat pose, right in the middle, and then lower. And when you lower, lower lightly and switch. Right arm and left leg and lower. I'm lifting on the exhale and pushing the ground away. Inhale, slowly lowering and lowering lightly. And exhaling, lifting right arm and left leg. And slowly lowering, lightly landing. Exhale. Inhale, lower. And we'll do one more on this side. And lower. Terrific. Again, if that felt challenging, stay with it. If it felt relatively easy, try walking your knees back a bit. Take a breath in, push the ground away. And when you exhale, right arm, left leg. Inhale, lightly lower. And then switch. Right leg and left arm. Think of lengthening from your center all the way out through the edges of your limbs. And switch. Again, trying to maintain neutral in all directions, so no swaying, no twisting, no dipping. We're going to do one more each side. So right leg, left arm, and switching. And I noticed my knees got a little creeped in here. All right, go ahead, come back to table. Give a little push of the ground away. Hug in and zip up. Find your core set of support and walk your knees back again. So your shoulders stay right over your wrists. Fingers spread. Knees are behind the line of your hips, and lightly add in a little cat pose, a little tail tuck. Get those lower abdominals into the mix. Tuck all your toes under and lift your knees up to plank pose. Take a breath in and tap your knees down. Lift your knees up. You can do this on an inhale, and then we'll lower the knees down. You could also do it on an exhale. Take a breath in, exhale, lift. Inhale your breath. I'm thinking of breathing into the sides of my ribs and my upper chest. And then go ahead and lower. Take one more inhale. Exhale, lift, and then we'll stay and breathe your breath in and breathe your breath out. Breathe your breath in. Good. Keep breathing. Keep the thighs and the shins lifted. And see if you can spread just a little to the pinky toe side of the foot as well. So you've got your legs super parallel. Keep pushing the ground away. Keep breathing. Take one more breath in and one more breath out. Then breathe your knees to the ground and have a sit in a place of comfort. For me, sitting on my shins feels great. For you, maybe sitting in Sukhasana feels great. And enjoy a couple of breaths and just notice the way your abdominal muscles feel. And they soften a bit here so that you can let the diaphragm move in all its directions with a little more ease. All right, so those are just a few things that you could try to begin to work on your abdominal strength. I'll be back again another time with some side core work and then some back core work so that we can build some strength in our core 360 degrees around. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, invite them to join our YouTube page and our Yoga Bliss community. If you haven't signed up for our YouTube page, please subscribe. And to find out more info about my online classes and videos that I have that you can practice with, you can go to my website. This is yourbliss.com. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.